Good morning and happy Thursday. What a week it's been. Or as Dolores just said, Baby Friday. Indica said this case is insane. Yes, it is. Snazzy told me about this case a couple of days ago, and I couldn't take my eyes off of it. It is a rabbit hole you can't get out of. Look at that. Katie gifted Crime Lines and Lies memberships. Slim gifted memberships. Starting the day off just right. This is nuts, guys. There is so much going on. I'm going to take you back through what has been going on. According to Janie Santana, that is her. Now, she has multiple personalities and profiles on the internet, okay? Multiple. She has said that her son Rudy, was walking the dogs and was kidnapped, that he went for a walk and disappeared, that he has PTSD, that Mexicans took him and bagged his head, and he walked all the way back to Houston by following the moon. Oh, hang on 1 second before I get to it. Today is our very good friend, Nicey Marie's birthday. Let's take a minute and tell our friend Nicey Marie happy birthday. Happy birthday, my dear friend, and I hope your year is as terrific as you. Sassy said, this is a rabbit hole. Yes, it is. It is. While everybody's piling in, and I see some new names, I was in here chatting early this morning. I might have missed a few of you. Titanium Built, when you get time, send me an email. Let's take a minute. Hello, Crime Story Diva. Hello, Shan. Nana Banana. Let's take a minute and tell everybody, hola. Welcome, everybody. As I said yesterday, we had a great show about Alexi. I said this one's a lot to bite off. Like I said a couple of days ago, Snazzy was sending me a lot of stuff about this case, and my mind was blown. Now, according to his mother, he has been missing for 8 years. He is a grown man now. He is a grown man. A lot came out yesterday. Houston police are going to be having a press conference at a little after 11. We're going to be catching that, so it's going to be a long show. I've seen different comments, whether it be in other groups or in our group, that say this is Stockholm Syndrome, Munchausen by proxy, Gypsy Rose vibes. He is a willing participant. What do you think? The neighbors were confused because they said he was never missing. We called him Dolph. He's been right here. He used to hang out in my garage. His mother offered $200 to one of the neighbors to lie. It's a hoax kidnapping for sure. At one time, his mother, with one of her profiles, hello, Jules of all trades, said he had cancer. Now let's take a second and go through some of the mom's nonsense. And it is nonsense. Okay, again, this is her, Janie Santana. This is her. She also goes by this profile, Alexis Santana. She also has multiple conversations with this profile, Bella Nino, who she says is her sister. But sometimes she forgets what profile she's in, and she answers in first person on Bella's. She has had multiple lies online. Here is one with the Alexis profile that she broke her arm. This is from Twitter. This is not her arm. From the Bella profile, she said, as far as the GoFundMe, there is no GoFundMe, nor is there talk of one, because Janie, is scared shitless. She knows the house of cards is about to crumble. This is her alter ego, Bella, saying, so stop the rumors. We had a fundraiser for my son. Again, Bella is supposed to be the aunt. So again, she forgot what profile she's in. For my son in 2015, and that money was stolen by someone. I trusted to take control of the benefit. Now we're talking as Bella that she was going to take it over. It was to be used for a reward for information leading to my son's whereabouts. I had to file a police report on that. Well, there's no police report. There's no police report. Now, a lot of allegations came out yesterday. We're going to get to those after we do a little backstory, because I do not know, even at his age, how he was allowed to leave with his mother yesterday if all the things that were said to the local activist are true. Tiffany said, am I blocked? I see you, girlfriend. No way. No way anyone's going to block you. Crazy Mama said, I see you, Tiffany. Crazy Mama also said, stolen by herself. Yes. She also got another person to go with her, duped her in to going to California because she said that she had a report of a Rudy sighting. Yet Rudy was at home with her. According to Rudy, he spoke to an activist yesterday. I wasn't there, just going off what the activist, Quanell, said. Hopefully I'm saying his name right. He said Rudy did run away. He was gone for a couple of days. When he returned home, he was told by his mother that he's going to be in trouble with the police. And he's basically been hiding in plain sight ever since. I mean, he talks with the neighbors. So what can she be in trouble for? Snazzy, thank you for the super sticker. Didn't her husband, ex-cop, kill himself after discovered he falsified police records for overtime pay? The entire family is cray-cray. I heard that as well. Also, multiple people in the family have had motorcycle accidents. Multiple. This story is wild. You can't make sense of it. I can't wait for the police to give the press conference today, because I cannot get out of my mind what was said yesterday. We will get to that in a minute. Let's look at this.
Man has been found alive 8 years after he vanished while walking his dogs. He was 17 years old at the time. As Corley Peel reports, there are so many questions around his disappearance.
Search for 17-year-old Rudy Farias is now over. 8 years after he was last seen, the now 25-year-old's family says he is found safe.
How this happened? Oh, we believe in miracles, and this certainly was a miracle.
Tim Miller.
I wouldn't so much call it a miracle because he was never missing. He did have to go through 8 years of hell. Now, a few days ago, before Snazzy told me about this case, you guys know I'm always a day late, dollar short. Without you guys, I wouldn't know anything that goes on. Somebody was in the chat, I don't remember who it was, it said, Tim Miller found someone after 8 years. Well, Tim Miller did not find him. Tim Miller did not find him. Not saying Tim Miller doesn't do amazing work, but Tim Miller didn't find him. Tim Miller is very suspicious of this.
Miller is the director for Texas EquiSearch. He is one of several people who helped search high and low for Farias.
Can't even tell you how many times we've searched and how many leads and tips came in, and then they just kind of faded away, and we heard nothing, and now all of a sudden this.
Investigators say he disappeared in March 2015. He was last seen walking his 2 dogs. The dogs were found, but Farias was not. At the time, loved ones said he suffered from PTSD, depression, and asthma.
I'm scared because he's out there alone by himself.
Miller says they followed up on every tip.
In the very beginning, I met with a family and detectives out there by his house where he disappeared, and we found a backpack. We actually talked to somebody who had one of the catering trucks, which felt as though that they saw him and stuff. Then there was different possible sightings in different places.
Miller says he never would have imagined Farias is still alive.
I think now, there's a lot of questions. There's a lot of investigation to kind of see what happened, where it happened, how it happened.
Again, there's still a lot of questions about how he disappeared, and loved ones say Rudy Farias is still in the hospital right now. But again, we are working to find out more answers to these questions, and we will keep you updated as we learn more.
This is crazy. This is crazy. Now, he was found by a church, disheveled. He does have cuts, bruises, worn out on the bottom of his feet. He did have to go to the hospital. I just can't believe he was allowed to go home with his mother. If what went on in that house was what was reported to Quanell, I hope I'm saying his name right, he should be in protective custody. He should not be allowed to be around her. We don't play daddy to our mom. We don't shower with mom. That's why a lot of people are saying, is this Stockholm Syndrome? Munchausen by proxy? Or was he a willing participant in this? Thank you, Slim. Thank you, thank you. Now, a little more backstory on the mom and what she does, because it is bizarre. Very bizarre. Okay, this is from Cinema Shogun. I came across him, I think, during the Kylie Rodney case, and you guys send me stuff of his here and there. And yes, it's raining again. It's raining outside, and it's raining in here. So he has a little more backstory on the catfishing that the mom does. So check out his channel. He's got a lot of great content.
Anybody could be Rudy's mom at this point. I'm looking at friends and family like, are you sure you're not just Rudy's mom in disguise? And I know that sounds kind of crazy, but it appears that Rudy Farias' mother has created one of the most elaborate catfish schemes that I've ever seen. It appears that over the years, Rudy's mother has created a community of catfish, a community of fake pages that all interact with each other. And it's some far out there stuff, ladies and gentlemen. It's something of the likes that I have never seen in my entire life. And I have seen some crazy stuff. Now, if you don't know who Rudy Farias is, I can't sit here and give you the whole backstory. You need to go watch my prior videos on this case. Long story short, Rudy went missing when he was 17. He was just found a few days ago. He's now 25. He was missing for 8 years, but I'm questioning if he was ever missing at all. And from everything I could tell, his mother is like a legit hardcore scammer.
Okay, he's 100% right. His mother is a legit hardcore scammer. Snazzy had a very good point. Hang on, I'm going to put it back up. She says, how many 25-year-olds go to work with their moms every night? But he's still listed as missing, yet he's hanging out in the neighborhood. People call him Dolph. One lady even called Houston police and said he's not missing. This was before all this went down. He was probably doing the job for her.
That is, I don't know, desperate for attention, desperate for clout, a straight up crazy psychopath. Yes, I said it. You could stamp it. You could screenshot it. You could screen record it. I stand by it that Rudy's mother is a freaking psychopath. Now, yesterday, we were covering some posts that supposedly came from Rudy's aunt, Bella Ninos. And I told you all to remember that name because Bella seems to be the one in the forefront spreading all of the information about Rudy.
She is. Bella is the alter ego. And it got called out online when all this broke open by another family member saying, Bella is Janie. Bella even posted this. Put my glasses on. It says, any family or close friends who can sit with Rudy overnight tonight. He can't be left alone. Mom, who is Bella, but pretends to be, she says that this fake person is her sister. Mom needs to go get a shower and some rest. She's about to crash if she doesn't. Also, the hospital contacted me to remove his hospital wristband and photos for his safety, especially after two sketchy male individuals are anonymously requesting info on him and his whereabouts. No hospital wants an ID band taken off. So if you have forwarded any photos of him or his hospital wristband, please delete it immediately. No. Now who, what mother, what father, sister, aunt, grandma, if you supposedly have not seen your child in 8 years would say, somebody come up here so I can go wash my ass. Somebody get up here. I'm about to crash. 8 years. It was like a blink. I got to get something to eat and get all washed up. No.
She's posting pictures of what is supposedly Rudy in a hospital bed and things of that nature. She's the one that's been keeping everyone updated on this case. But from the looks of it, Bella does not exist, people. From the looks of it, this Bella Ninos character is just Rudy's mom. Once again, it's Rudy's mother. Everyone is Rudy's mother. This is Rudy's mom. 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 Rudy's mom goes undercover on Facebook or something using different aliases. She poses as if she's this blonde white woman when in reality she's not. I mean, just look at this picture.
Yeah, this is not his mama. This is not his mama. This is his mama. Janie Santana. This is not his mama. That is a Twitter picture. She uses a lot of stock photos and says these things happen to her. A lot. Again, about the money. We'll get to that. Ree said, oh my God. Yeah. Girl, we've seen some craze in over the years. But this is the craziest catfish scam I've ever seen in my life. Snazzy, thank you for the super sticker. Said, why the hell are they so concerned about Rudy's face being seen? He's not a minor child. Protecting the meal ticket? That's what I'm wondering. See, she's working overtime. That hamster on the wheel in her empty bed and her empty skull is trying to figure out how to manipulate out of this.
This has to be one of the worst Photoshop jobs I have ever seen in my entire life. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like I was saying, this story is overwhelming, trying to keep up with all of the weird nonsense that's going on, but it's also entertaining. I find myself laughing my ass off over and over again while looking into this story because this Janie Santana lady, who's Rudy's mother, she's crazy. She is crazy, and she's created all of these Facebook profiles to interact with herself. And listen, I know that some of this sounds really far out there. It sounds unbelievable. It sounds like a conspiracy. And I know I dive into a lot of weird stuff on my channel. We talk about conspiracies, aliens, and stuff like that. But for those of you all who have not been subbed to my channel for a long time, I talk about true crime and missing persons cases all the time. And I handle these cases with care. I handle these cases very carefully. Often, I'm at odds, beefing, arguing with people who spread conspiracy theories when it comes to these true crime cases. So the fact that I am out here willing to say the things that I am saying, it's because I have the utmost confidence in what I'm saying. I'm not the type of person that spreads conspiracies when it comes to missing person or true crime cases, because I understand that real people, real lives are involved. So I handle these cases with care and very respectfully. This case, however, you're going to see me take the gloves off because they need to be taken off. Because Rudy's mother has been running an elaborate freaking scamming scheme for like the past decade or more. I'm talking fake businesses, GoFundMes. She's claiming that Rudy had cancer at one point. Literally, she claims that Rudy had cancer.
She also said that the Westboro Baptist Church was harassing Rudy. Now, I'm no fan of them. I do like how they spam the hell out of BTK Killer's mailbox. But, no. They wouldn't know who Rudy is, and Rudy never had cancer. When these people pull the fake cancer, it makes me livid.
We know that Rudy doesn't have cancer. She's claiming all of these weird things, but I want to show you these posts. Bella Ninos, this is who is supposedly Rudy's aunt. Happy birthday, sister. Wishing you were here so we could go out and party like we used to do for your birthday every year. Now, I'm going to keep the post up. You can read the whole thing if you want. It's going to take me too long in this video to read the whole thing. Moral of the story is, if you go to Bella Ninos' Facebook page, it's like her entire life is devoted to Jamie. And when I tell you that I tapped out after finding at least a dozen fake Facebook pages that all seem to be ran by Rudy's mother, that's the limit that I got to before I was like, you know what? I got to get some rest. But all of these accounts, on all of these accounts, you can go to the account and you can see that these people, for some reason, they don't have their own lives. Like Bella, she doesn't have her own life. All she does when she posts on Facebook is she talks to Janie, or she talks about Janie. It's like her entire life is devoted to Janie. And then we have another person who is this Christina Jacks. This is one of the strongest women I know. She has endured so much in recent years with the most recent loss of her mother, and yet she still stands tall. Now, as you can see, she's talking about Alexis Santana, which is just another one of the aliases of Rudy's mother. Rudy's mother goes by like 5 different names. She uses a multitude of pictures that she says it's her when we know that it's not her. Now, I can confirm for a 100% fact, these are not fake Facebook profiles that were created yesterday or the day before.
Okay, he's right. All of these profiles have gone on for a long time. I got put in Facebook jail many times. I tried to make a sock account. Zuckerberg knew it was me by noon and shut it down. But people like Janie Santana and Candace and Dawn Wells can have 25 Facebook accounts. Make it make sense.
These aren't people who are just, sick in the head and want to spread confusion in a true crime case. These are accounts that go back years. And you can scroll back on these accounts, and you can see that they don't interact with anyone. They don't have their own life. They do nothing but talk about Janie or Alexis, whichever one you want to call her. Now, I told you that she has fake businesses. She right here claims that my brother and I have a security company, and we are currently looking for contracts. If you or your company are possibly in need of our services, please message me. Now, I'll leave the post up. You could read the whole thing. But long story short, this security company does not exist. She had.
This kind of reminds me of Sarah and Stacy Wandra with all of their fake businesses that they are using, well, to do bad things. Janie Santana was doing the same thing.
Has multiple businesses listed that she works at or that she runs that do not exist at all. And she's also looking for customers and stuff with this business. I don't know what type of scam this is, but it's a scam. She's literally lying about owning certain companies and owning certain businesses that she does not own. These companies, these businesses do not even exist, much like all of the people that she's interacting with on Facebook. I think that this is a lonely woman that needs attention, that has severe mental health issues. Like I told you yesterday, Munchausen syndrome by proxy. This story gave me that feeling from the moment I looked into it. I followed my gut. People were telling me that I'm mean, I'm bad. You need to wait for the facts to come out. You shouldn't say this, Cinema Shogun. Listen, when I feel something as strongly as I felt something when it comes to this case, I know something is wrong. And I am glad I questioned things, because once I started digging, boy, oh boy, I am telling you right now, my mind is legit blown. I am having trouble. I don't know if you can tell. I am having trouble recording this video because I got so much information flowing through my head. I don't even know what to say right now because there's so many points that I want to make. Please hit that subscribe button, ring that notification bell. We're going to be pumping out videos all day because there's so many little details that I got to go over for you all. To possibly go overseas. The only problem is Rudy was never overseas. Rudy was found in Houston, Texas, exactly where he went missing from. And all of this is a lie. We also know that the police department spotted Rudy in 2018, or that the family, some family members called Houston Police Department claiming they saw Rudy. So we know that Rudy was never overseas. This is just a lie. And as of right now, Rudy's mother claims that she never set up a GoFundMe. But I could find multiple GoFundMes that were set up throughout the course of, the last 8 years where Rudy has been missing. She's been using this to get sympathy, using this to get attention because she is an attention whore, and she has been trying to get as much money from this situation as possible. And this is not even the only way she scams. There are so many various little scams, fake businesses, and all types of stuff set up. I'm going to have to make multiple videos on this just to get to it. But yesterday, I was talking to Down the Rabbit Hole News on Twitter. By the way, follow me on Twitter if you haven't already, and go check out Down the Rabbit Hole News' YouTube channel. But from what she said, she could not find any police reports, any official police confirmation, any official police statements about Rudy being found. And I couldn't either. So I was kind of glad when she said that, because I was sitting here all day trying to find a statement, but I couldn't find any. Now, if you followed enough missing person cases, true crime cases, or stories like this one, then you know that the police, investigators, whoever you want to call them, they love doing press conferences, okay? They'll do a press conference. They won't answer a single question. They won't really release any information, but by God, they're going to do a press conference.
And he's correct. So you can see the way he put that together, and go check out his channel. That the mom is cuckoo, all right? Not just a little off, not just a little self-absorbed, but she's a scammer, she's a catfisher, and she used her son. Now, as you know, a lot came out yesterday from the activists in Houston. We are going to be covering the press conference. This is a tweet from Houston police. Detectives with our missing persons unit interviewed Mr. Rudy Farias, 25, and his mother today. So it is Rudy in the hospital. Well, now he's home. While there are reports of some of the content of the interviews being released, our detectives are not in a position at this time, this was yesterday, to discuss specifics of the interviews or if the content being released is entirely factual. Now, police have a way of saying things. So it means some of it could be true, some of it could be not. They have to investigate all of the things that were said. Detectives will be available to discuss details of this case sometime tomorrow, and we will be covering that. Neighbors are confused. The alter ego Bella is talking smack, telling people to shut their effing traps. It's sad when you need to attack people during a crisis just for followers, clout, and popularity. Who's the one that's been getting followers, clout, popularity, and money? This lady. She's the one that's been doing it. Bella's a badass, isn't she? Bella's a badass. I hear as of this morning, they can't even find the mom. The mom talked to a neighbor, we're going to get to that in a little bit, and said she was afraid to be arrested. I'd keep my eyes on her if I was Houston PD. Not like they don't have enough to do. Okay, let's look at this from a local affiliate in Houston. Of course, you know I have to interrupt it to put in my commentary for fair use. Jules said, Bella, 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 you crazy nut. Bella the badass. Yes, she is.
For 8 years, a missing Houston man is found.
A miracle for everybody who has been looking for Rudy Farias.
Anieli Ruiz joining us live outside the church in Southeast Houston where he was found. Anayeli.
Well, guys, that's right. We're learning new details. We're told that a Good Samaritan spotted him here outside this church, called 911. When police showed up, they found something on Rudy that identified a family member, and that's how they were able to get family out here to obviously positively identify Rudy. And when they did, police say he was released to his family. But now everyone wanting to know, how did Rudy end up here after 8 years? Found alive after 8 years, Rudy Farias has been missing since March of 2015.
And thank God he's alive. I mean, this is one of them miracles that you don't experience very often.
He was last seen near his home, and just last week he was found here outside this church. Tim Miller was one of the dozens of people that have been looking for Rudy from the get-go.
We started out at his house where he disappeared from, where he was walking his dogs, and I'll never forget finding his backpack out in this empty lot, field and stuff.
And Houston police tell us they did get a call from family members in September of 2018. They had spotted Rudy living behind a family member's home, but HPD did not find him, and they could not provide the address for us.
See, it gets more and more bizarre. Tim Miller is a great person. Now, one of the many stories that Janie Santana has said is that Rudy took the car and wrecked it and then was found behind the church. Now, how did he get the car keys if he's missing? She also posted this back in 2022. My poor BMW. I was driving home from the orthopedics office when I was involved in a 4-car accident. Not my fault. All cars hit me at the same time. Guess what? As I braced myself at impact, I re-injured my arm and wrist again. The doctor thinks I may have broken it again. Doctors don't think you've broken something. They do a damn x-ray and say, it's broke. Doctors don't say, I think. They say, let's do an x-ray. Now I can't move my fingers. You can't keep it straight. You cannot keep it straight with this woman.
But after 8 years, a miracle. A Good Samaritan found him unresponsive outside this church. Neighbors say they saw when police showed up to the scene.
There was a person that were trying to wake him up. HPD couldn't wake him up, like he was completely out of it.
But police confirmed it was Rudy. In a statement, Rudy's mom said her son is now receiving the care he needs to overcome his trauma. She said he's currently nonverbal and is not able to communicate with them, but she will share more details as Rudy continues to heal.
Rudy's family is excited. I mean, they are over the moon. They're excited, but they're also worried. You know, Rudy's not doing well.
In pictures released by the family, you could see Rudy has cuts and bruises on his body. As you can imagine, the family is waiting for Rudy to heal. Now, investigators do tell us they will be speaking with Rudy and his family on Wednesday, where everyone hopes to learn more details on where he's been this entire time.
Now, if he just took off on his own at 17, there's no crime. People can get the hell out of town. One of the stories that we heard a few days ago from Janie Santana was that he is nonverbal. Well, he was singing like a canary yesterday. He talked to detectives. He talked to an advocate in Houston. He had a lot to say. A lot to say. I don't know what to make of it. I really don't.
Houston teen disappeared. He has now been found safe. Rudy Farias was 17 years old when he went out for a walk and didn't come home. Now he's 25 years old and back with his family. His mother told KPRC2 on the phone that some Good Samaritans found her son at a church. KPRC2's Coralie Peel went to the neighborhood where Farias was last seen near Tidwell and Park Drive. She spoke with family members about how he's doing.
Family members tell me Rudy Farias is in bad shape right now, but they are grateful to finally have him back home. And now that he's been found, there are a lot of questions about where he was the past 8 years. This search for 17-year-old Rudy Farias is now over. 8 years after he was last seen, the now 25-year-old's family says he is found safe.
How this happened? Well, we believe in miracles, and this certainly was a miracle.
Tim Miller is the director for Texas EquiSearch. He is one of several people who helped search high and low for Farias.
Can't even tell you how many times we've searched and how many leads and tips came in, and then they just kind of faded away, and we heard nothing, and now all of a sudden this.
Investigators say he disappeared in March 2015. He was last seen walking his 2 dogs. The dogs were found, but Farias was not. At the time, loved ones said he suffered from PTSD, depression, and asthma.
She forgot cancer. She forgets her lies. She told a news reporter yesterday that his head was bagged. He was taken to Mexico, and he walked back to Houston by following the moon. Seriously? Border Patrol didn't get him? What?
I'm scared because he's out there alone by himself.
Miller says they followed up on every tip.
In the very beginning, I met with a family and detectives out there by his house where he disappeared, and we found a backpack. We actually talked to somebody who had one of the catering trucks, which felt as though that they saw him and stuff. Then there was different possible sightings in different places.
Miller says he never would have imagined Farias is still alive.
I think now, there's a lot of questions. There's a lot of investigation to kind of see what happened, where it happened, how it happened.
Again, there's still a lot of questions about how he disappeared, and loved ones say Rudy Farias is still in the hospital right now. But again, we are working to find out more answers to these questions, and we will keep you updated as we learn more. Coralie.
It was a hoax. I believe he ran away from home and came back a couple of days later. I think what the advocate said yesterday was true. I believe she did tell him, you can't ever leave again because the police will arrest you. That does make sense to me. And the other stuff is hard to wrap my mind around. We will get to that before the press conference. Now, Janie, there she is again. Janie Santana offered a neighbor $200 to say he is not Rudy. This lady said, Should interview on the news. She had on her Amazon outfit. She has shit to do. She has work to do. She said, I'm not going to lie to the police. The neighbors are confused. They're like, he was never missing. He was never missing. One neighbor came out and said she knows she's going to get arrested. She's worried about it. Look at this.
Answers to their questions, and others will be answered tomorrow. They'll be presented tomorrow by HPD investigators with this case at HPD's headquarters. Now, tonight we are hearing from neighbors who say that they saw Rudy Farias just last night after he was found alive again last week. Coralie Peel is live right now outside of the mother's home. It's located on Valley Lake Drive, where neighbors say they also spoke with his mother.
That's right, Rudy. Neighbors tell me they saw Rudy and his mother here in their driveway.
Now, if you can look, she has bars on the windows. Now, I don't know what part of Houston they live in. I'm not that familiar with Houston. I know they have some crime issues where you might want bars on the windows, but I think she has bars on the windows for another reason.
Mother here in their driveway at their home. They say the mother did not stay long, but she did appear to be worried about being arrested. From a distance, neighbors took video of Rudy Farias' mother loading up a car in her driveway Tuesday night.
When he first went missing, he didn't report it to the police, and they're trying to say that he might have done some crimes, which he didn't, and now they want to arrest me because they said I was hiding him.
Her 25-year-old son vanished.
Okay, listen to her again. They're saying he did some crimes. She said, which he didn't. Well, how do you know if he's been missing for 8 years? He hasn't been in your sight, right, Janie?
Mother loading up a car in her driveway Tuesday night.
When he first went missing, he didn't report it to the police, and they're trying to say that he might have done some crimes, which he didn't, and now they want to arrest me because they said I was hiding him.
Her 25-year-old son vanished 8 years ago at age 17.
It's just we've always, in our hearts, knew that he wasn't really missing.
During those 8 years, his cousin, Cassandra Lopez, says she called 911 in 2018 after family members saw Farias at his mother's home. She says their grandmother told her she spoke with Rudy often.
And how did those conversations go when she would talk about Rudy?
Okay, so the grandmother said she spoke with Rudy often, so he wasn't missing. What are we missing here? Where is the disconnect? Broke Dolph, welcome to the channel, and thank you for the super sticker. Said Mr. Farias said mother essayed, physically abused him, forced some hallucinogens on him, and she kept him hitting during the time she claimed he was missing. Yeah. That's what he allegedly told the advocate. We're going to get to that.
She says their grandmother told her she spoke with Rudy often.
And how did those conversations go when she would talk about Rudy?
She would just say, I saw Rudy, he came to check on me, and, we just said hello and have their little conversation. She never went into detail, but she would say she saw him.
HPD said.
So if Granny Santana saw him, the neighbors saw him, he's not missing. Again, is it Stockholm, Munchausen, or was he a willing participant? I cannot wait for this press conference today.
As officers responded but didn't find him. Neighbors tell me Farias has been living with his mother this entire time, but they know him by the name Dolph. Did you ever notice anything suspicious over there?
No, when he talked to us, he doesn't say too much on who he really is. We just know that he lives down here with his mom. He goes to work with her around 6 p.m. to maybe 7 or 8 in the morning.
So he was seen at her work. He would go to work with her and work overnight. Snazzy said, I doubt the press conference will be extremely revealing. I know, girlfriend, I get my hopes up, but when law enforcement talks to us, it is vanilla ice cream and no sprinkles, if you know what I mean. So he's obviously verbal. He's talking to the neighbors. He talks to grandma. So that's yet another lie of Janie's.
Did you ever notice anything suspicious over there?
No, when he talked to us, he doesn't say too much on who he really is. We just know that he lives down here with his mom. He goes to work with her around 6 p.m. to maybe 7 or 8 in the morning. And he just been freely walking down the streets.
Neighbors shared this text message appearing to show a conversation between Farias' mother and the neighbor where she identifies herself as Dolph's mom. Lopez hopes Farias is safe.
Okay, look at this. Hi, Rocky. Can you give me a call back, please? It's Dolph's mom. So she has created an alter personality for him as well. I can't make sense of this, my friends. I understand nicknames, but we know there's more going on here than that. Rocky and Dolph. Rocky and Dolph in one text.
Herself as Dolph's mom. Lopez hopes Farias is safe enough to tell his story.
I mean, half of his life is almost, or a quarter of his life's already been taken away from him. You know, it's just not right. He didn't deserve that. Nobody deserves that.
She says it's only a matter of time before the truth comes out. Neighbors also told us that Rudy's mother asked them not to talk to the news after he was found. But again, they have spoken with us tonight. Again, there are a lot of unanswered questions.
Okay, your son's been missing. This gives me Letitia vibes. This gives me Terry Horman vibes. When both Letitia and Terry Horman said they were told not to talk to the news. No law enforcement is ever going to say, don't advocate for your missing child. Never. Never. It doesn't work that way. But all the neighbors are like, he was never missing. Never missing. So we go from Rudy to Dolph. Hello, Casey. How you been? Missed you, my friend. All right, Nava, let's put together. Go check out his channel. I'll put it in the chat. He put together more craziness from Janie. This is a great video. I'm not going to play the whole thing because I want you to check it on in his channel. But all of these accidents and all the chaos going on around Janie are concerning.
Story about Rudy, the missing boy who came back after 8 years, is astonishing. It's a Netflix documentary / podcast waiting to happen. I have a small few notes from today that I just want to run through to get everyone up to speed. So, quick timeline. In 2011, Charles, Rudy's older brother, died in a motorcycle accident. In 2012, Westboro Church allegedly bullies Rudy, and he also has cancer. In 2012, Rudy emails a bank. In 2014, Rudy's father passes away, self-inflicted gunshot. He was a police officer who was under investigation for ticket fraud, along with 3 other officers. In March 2015, Rudy was last seen walking his dogs around 6:30 p.m. There's conflicting reports on how he vanished. Apparently, his wallet and his inhaler were found in a field. His aunt, Bella, has stated he was taken while saving a young girl. There's no confirmation on anything from the police department. In 2017, an ex-boyfriend of Janie, who is Rudy's mother, says he saw Rudy in the kitchen one day.
Okay, let's go. Let's look at this again.
On
2011, Charles, Rudy's older brother, died in a motorcycle accident. 2012 is when Janie Santana said that the Westboro Church was bullying Rudy and that he has cancer. 2012, Rudy emails a bank. Then in 2014, his father passes away from he checked out early. He was a Houston police officer who was under investigation for ticket fraud, along with 3 other officers. 2015, Rudy last seen walking the dogs around 6:30 p.m., conflicting reports on how he vanished. Apparently, his wallet and inhaler were found in a field, and his Aunt Bella, who does not exist, has stated he was taken while he was saving a young girl. This is one of many stories about his disappearance. No confirmation of any of that from the police. Also, I want to know where Tim Miller found the backpack and other items. because I have a feeling Janie / Alexis / Christina / Bella put stuff out there for him to find.
Anything from the police department. In 2017, an ex-boyfriend of Janie, who is Rudy's mother, says he saw Rudy in the kitchen.
So this lucky fella gets to date crazy Janie, Bella, Christina, whoever she was that day, Lexi, Alexis, and he sees Rudy in the kitchen. Woo!
One day. In 2017, Jerry, Rudy's uncle and Janie's brother, says at a press conference that he had potential leads. In April 2017, Jerry dies in a motorcycle accident.
All right. February 2017, Jerry Santana, Rudy's uncle and Janie's brother, says at a press conference that they have potential leads. Now, mind you, he's already been seen in the kitchen by the boyfriend, ex-boyfriend. Now, also, she duped in another person to go to California with her because she said there was a sighting of Rudy there. She went to Disneyland. She got to do the Hollywood Walk of Fame. She went to the Chinese theater. She had a grand old time. The question would be, why don't the police go and check on this?
Accident. In September.
Okay, so in February 2017, Jerry says they have potential leads. April 2017, another motorcycle accident in the family.
2018, the police say a family member called and said Rudy was living behind the house. They checked it out, they found nothing. A few weeks ago, 21st of June, Janie's BMW is allegedly stolen and damaged. And then a couple of days ago, Rudy is found 8 miles from his home outside a church where...
Okay, so Janie says someone stole her BMW. It was stolen and damaged. Then on the 29th, Rudy is found 8 miles from his home outside a church. The aunt says Rudy has cuts, bruises, dried blood in his hair. Ambulance crew checked Rudy out. However, he refused to go to the hospital. Rudy's mom signs a waiver, and she takes him to the hospital. Now, I don't know what that's all about because, well, he's 25. But as we know, in 2022, she posts that she was in a 4-car accident, hit from all sides. What was she doing? Just sitting in a 4-way stop and nobody was paying attention? How would this even happen?
in a chain jewelry that he had on 8 years ago. The aunt says Rudy had cuts, bruises, dry blood in the hair. Ambulance crew checked Rudy out. However, he refused to go with them. Ruby's mother was there. She signed a waiver and she took him to the hospital. He's been there the last few days. He's non-verbal now, even though he somehow said his name is Julio and that he is 14 years old.
I believe the nonverbal was because he didn't want to talk to her. I think she made it clear to him that if anybody asks who you are, you tell them your name is Dolph, Julio, Lundgren, whatever. Do not tell them your real age.
His aunt claims that the BMW was damaged after Rudy was found, so it's going to be hard for Janie to visit.
The BMW was damaged after Rudy was found. We clearly saw Janie in the driveway saying they want to arrest her. She was loading up a car. More lies. More lies.
That's the gist of what's going on, but let me run through some of the receipts and the drama. So who's Rudy's mother? She is apparently been up to this for years. She scammed, lied, manipulated people for decades. She conceals her identity, which we seen in the interview for when Rudy was missing. She has many, many Facebook profiles. And even looking at her own current one, you can see she was on a holiday, allegedly, last year in Australia.
Look at this. Alexis Santana, which is her, she tagged herself in Australia. Just plain old Australia. Not Sydney, not Queensland, just plain old Australia. And she said, I guess kangaroo it is. These are stock photos. Kangaroo it is. What? I mean, you can tag yourself anywhere. Somebody needs to put her in a hospital.
Yeah, but the images that she uses are stock images. They're all got from Google. Here's a one of kangaroo meat, but it's from Getty Images. Here is another time that she said she broke her hand, but the picture.
Exactly. You can look at so many of her pictures, do a reverse image search on Google, and it will take you to another site, whether it be Twitter, someone's personal Facebook, Google Images, Getty Images. Nablus did a great job putting this together. So look at this. This is her, one of her alter egos. I had an accident which resulted in a broken wrist a couple of days ago. Swollen and very painful. Now remember, a few months after this, she said her doctor thought she broke her arm again. She forgets what profile she's in. Her doctor thinks she broke her arm again. Doctors don't think about broken bones. They do a damn x-ray and they say, yep, it's broke. She says, I definitely need surgery, thank you. Well, look at the image to the right. Kristen's broken arm on Twitter. 2 more weeks with a pink cast.
Images. They're all got from Google. Here's a one of kangaroo meat, but it's from Getty Images. Here is another time that she said she broke her hand, but the picture that she used was straight off Google. There seems to be a lot of this. Who is Rudy's Aunt Bella? Rudy's Aunt Bella is allegedly his mother. He might have an Aunt Bella, but the person who is controlling this account on Facebook seems to be his mother. This is confirmed by an ex-wife of an ex-husband. She talks about it in 2017. And also, there is...
Let's read through this. I am an ex-wife. Jamie Santana, Bella Ninos are the same person. Now this says Jamie, but she goes by Janie. I was approached on Messenger from a Bella Ninos attacking my character and attacking my children all over an ex-husband who married Janie Santana in 2017, right after her son was missing. She was planning a lavish wedding, and I could not wrap my head around how a woman could be in that frame of mind during a time when her son had been missing. Prior to that, I bet old boy didn't know there was a lavish wedding being planned. If I know my girl Janie, I have a feeling this dude didn't know he was going to the altar. Prior to that, her other son had just gotten killed on a motorcycle. Prior to that, a husband who committed who worked for the Houston Police Department. This woman I've never met. I've never seen face to face. My ex, he's divorced from Janie Santana. The ex encounter with Miss Santana's lies coexists with the story that she was once pregnant with twins. Wasn't Letitia pregnant with twins? And that people were contemplating to hurt her during her pregnancy. When that story came back to me, I was beside myself. How desperate a woman could be to want to keep a man was my thinking during that time. And I let things go, looked the other way. My ex's story was not my problem, but here I sit reading all these comments and these stories that are going on, and I'm just going to say that if a woman can create such a devastating story to go out as far as buying a urn for burial, putting sand in the urn but forgot that people are smart. As you looked into the urn, there was no stamp of Texas, just sand in the bag. The ex once mentioned that he seen Rudy in the kitchen one night and watched it out. Rudy had socks on and they were clean. When the ex went to tell Janie his experience, she brushed it off as if he was crazy. Yeah. So when he's like, hey, there's a kid in the kitchen. He looks like the one on the missing billboard. And she's like, oh, you're crazy. You're just seeing things. That's the love. You're so in love with me. You're so in love with me that you're seeing things.
There's been 2 screenshots come out where Bella gets confused, or Rudy's mother, which account they're on, and they accidentally slip up. There's one here where Bella calls him.
This is common for Janie. This is common for Janie. This is on the Bella account, which Bella only talks about Janie. Bella only communicates with Janie. We did not sell him to anyone. You guys should be ashamed of yourselves. This person says, yes, you did. You knew where he was the entire time. You are sick. Your own brother said you also beat your mom. That poor child won't speak because he's terrified of his own mom. She said, he's not my brother and he's not the person you think he is. My son will tell you all when he's ready. Rudy is supposedly not Bella's son. Rudy is supposedly the nephew. Listen to that. He's not my brother and he's not the person you think he is. My son will tell all when he's ready. She says, your son? I thought this is Bella. Rudy is Janie's son, you stupid ass. Look at that, you stupid ass. You don't even know what account you're using, Janie. Stupid ass.
My son. And there's a second one here where Bella calls her, she says, my sister Bella, but it's from Bella's account. So before Rudy went missing, like I said, his father died. This is a post from Rudy from Facebook, but notice the soft tissue tumor. And it looks like maybe in some of these posts, some of the letters that Rudy was writing to the bank, it wasn't him, it was his mother.
His mother was writing letters to the bank on his behalf, stupid ass. So this is Rudy supposedly saying, I have a torn ACL or something like that and a soft tissue tumor I need to have surgery on. Cancer, soft tissue tumor, torn ACL, motorcycle accidents, self-inflicted, missing, lavish weddings, multiple personalities. Stupid ass.
This says Westboro Church bullies missing teen. This was in the newspaper in 2012. This is an article about 3 bikers who were meeting up with Rudy. And one of the reasons why is because Rudy was receiving emails, allegedly, from Westboro Baptist Church mocking his brother. I'm not sure these emails happened. I'm not one to defend Westboro Church at all. They're obviously scumbags. But in this article, we also are told that Rudy is battling cancer. This is the only time that cancer is mentioned. It was never mentioned when he went missing, and I don't believe it's true. This is an article from a couple of weeks later.
According to Janie, his cancer went away because she bought some Melaleuca online from a consultant and considered selling it. And the cancer went away. You heard that right here, folks. I wouldn't say try this at home, only do what your doctor says. I want to know where the twins went.
Where it says Marine Mum, which also is not true. Rudy's brother who died was never in the Marines. His mother has said that to reporters. It was checked out. It's false.
The brother was never in the Marines. Janie was never homeless. It's one lie after another. Corey said it's a miracle. It's a Mela Luca miracle.
So this is an article, the reporters meeting back up with Rudy. They're talking about the Westboro Baptist Church again. And now they're saying Rudy has a new fight. The bank has foreclosed on his home and he's going to be homeless. So he's writing desperate emails to the bank. I don't think Rudy is writing these emails. I believe it was his mother. Missing. Rudy goes missing. We're now up to March the 6th, 2015. Rudy is 17, 18. They got his age wrong, I think, in a few reports. Anyway, he goes missing. Gets a lot of attention. Equisearch are out there looking everywhere. A fortune is spent on a search. There is a report in 2018 that family members told police investigators they had seen him in September 2018 behind the home. Police checked it out, found nothing. There was also, it says in articles, that people close to the investigation say that there has been inconsistencies in the mother's story since her son disappeared in 2015, and there's that part in 2018. These are...
When there's inconsistencies in the story of the last person to see the missing, smell a rat. Smell a rat. Never just assume that they were drunk or high, or that's just how they talk, or they're under immense stress. Smell a rat. People close to the investigation say there have been inconsistencies in the mother's story since her son's disappearance in 2015. The police spent a ton of money on this, and he was never missing.
Comments from extended family members at the time. Rudy wasn't in school previous months before he disappeared. My little brother goes to that school, so that's odd that he would just randomly disappear, and my aunt needs money. So they're hinting at it there. Another comment saying that...
This is by Sasha Garcia, which I'm going to assume is not Janie, because she's throwing shade. Well, Rudy wasn't at school previous months before his disappearance. My little brother goes to school, so that's odd that he would just randomly disappear. And my aunt needs money? Super crazy, huh? Because see, old Janie's not going to throw shade her own way. She throws it at everybody else. This woman said, I was told by his aunt about 4 or 5 years ago that she did a surprise visit to visit her mom at Janie's home, and he was there. One of many people that says they saw Rudy.
I was told by his aunt about 4 or 5 years ago that she did a surprise visit to Janie's home and he was there. Aunt Bella, what does Aunt Bella say happened that day? She gives this wonderful story, covered it in my last video, about a little girl who Rudy saved. It's a totally bizarre, made-up story, just fiction. Did not happen.
Okay, this is from the alter ego Bella. Okay, Bella says, actually, a little girl at the time recognized his flyer at a Fiesta grocery store and told her mom as she pointed to Rudy's flyer, that is the boy that saved my life, according to her statement. She had been abducted by 3 males, and they took her to a field where they were assaulting her when Rudy may have heard her screams for help. She stated to investigators that she remembers seeing him walking his dogs. How is she going to see him walking his dogs if she's in the middle of a field being assaulted? And he witnessed what was happening, and he intervened and told her to run and not look back. And by the time she took investigators to the scene, there was no sign of Rudy, just his inhaler and his wallet. She told investigators that she was going to be sold for human sex trafficking, so she believes They are who took him. This little girl does not exist. Just letting you know right now, this little girl does not exist.
Let's say happened that day. She gives this wonderful story, covered it in my last video, about a little girl who Rudy saved. It's a totally bizarre, made up story, just fiction, did not happen. And remember, Bella is, we think, Rudy's mother. A couple of days ago, Rudy is found, and Bella puts up a post on Facebook thanking everyone, saying that he is in bad shape and he has soft tissue tumors, like Rudy said years ago. And you all know this part, the big happy news story that's ongoing at the moment. However, the extended family have said that he was never missing. Here is some screenshots from them. They said, basically, long and short, the mother had him in hiding.
The family knows. A whole lot of questions. This is my little cousin. The family has so many unanswered questions. I'm grateful he is out of hiding and this is public. I pray the light is shown and the truth is revealed soon. Love you, Rudy, and your brother Charles knows the truth. May God rest his soul. One day, baby cousin, these chains will be broken and justice will be served.
Covered that in the last video. There was an interesting post posted while he was up in hospital on the very first night saying, can anyone come up and stay with him because Mom, this was Aunt Bella posting, is wrecked tired and wants to go home. And I put to you that no mother whose child was missing for 8 years would leave him for weeks. They also said that they've been asked by the hospital to remove photographs of the wristband because there's 2 sketchy male individuals asking questions about him. Just sounds like nonsense. This morning, the mother has bitten back at everything that's kind of happening online. She put up a really, really long post talking about some of the family drama. Pause here if you want to read it. It's a bit odd. There's a few things in it that don't make sense. Things like a judge, a court continuing with a judgment when someone has passed away. That's not going to happen.
Okay, this is a lot from her altered personality. You can go back and rewatch it. But this is rambling. She says, my son is in the hospital getting the best possible medical treatment possible. I would also like to ask of you to please ignore these hateful people causing havoc and rumors regarding my son's disappearance. Those individuals are family members from my mother's first marriage. I have not had contact with them in years. When my mother was alive, she lived with me for over 20 years, and her grown children never came around but once in a blue moon. My mother was in my care for all of those years. I bet that went well. When my mother, sadly, when the courts finally ruled in my favor and granted me my mother back, all I was able to receive were my mother's remains because sadly she passed away by the time the courts ruled in my favor. Well, there's a reason for that. There's a huge reason for that. She says, since my mother's passing and the end of this nasty court battle, they have attacked me. They tried to do everything to try and ruin my reputation and discredit me. Mind you, I've had no contact with these people. They have been very vicious, vindictive, and evil. This is just out of hatred and viciousness due to taking them to court and prevailing. No point in looking any of that up because it didn't happen.
She also says there is no GoFundMe, and there was one in 2015, but that money was stolen by someone she trusted to take control of it. So she lost all the one in 2015, and there's no new one. The family members have also clapped back saying, like, we're confident you're the one that's lying. Again, referencing Facebook scams and stuff like that. Bella has also posted today asking for anyone and everyone to please take screenshots of everything you see slandering my sister and Rudy, please. So feel free, anyone, to send this video her way. The new GoFundMe, that has been referenced in a few different posts that there is none. This is all BS. We never had a GoFundMe. And here is screenshots of the GoFundMe when it was set up. It was set up for a 10 grand goal. I assume it's probably taken down now, but there was a GoFundMe set up. The car crash / car stolen. This is my last one. So you can see a post yesterday from Bella. I won't read all the words there, but she's saying her sister's car was stolen and now she can't get around for her nephew. You didn't hurt her, you hurt my nephew, blah, 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 blah. But here is a post from March 9th, 2022, where Rudy's mother is talking about a poor BMW looks wrecked. She was driving home from an office when she was involved in a 4-car accident. Not her fault, of course it wasn't. All the cars hit me at the same time, and guess what? As I braced myself, I re-injured my arm and my wrist. The doctors think I may have broken it again. Now I can't move my fingers, I can't seem to catch a break. Praying I don't need to have surgery again, being that I just had surgery last Tuesday. And can you believe I was the only one who had car insurance? Where do these people get their fake cards from? Do they really think they won't get found out? Gosh, I hope my insurance does not increase since it's falling on my insurance. Not my day. I'm in so much pain. Just
talking about car insurance, she did a whole post one day and said, I need car insurance right now. Your son is supposedly missing. And you're worried about car insurance?
when I'm almost pain free after my surgery. Prayers that it's not another break or worse, shattered again. So I doubt very much that car was stolen a few days ago. It probably goes back to then. And you can see in the pictures of the car that they put up, there's way too much rust on it. It's been sitting there a while. And that's it. I cannot keep up with the story. It's absolutely wild. It's crazy. Let me know what you think. Good luck. God bless. I hope everyone has a nice day.
It's beyond wild. What does that mean with Charlie Day? And he's got post-it notes everywhere, the whiteboard, the whole thing. This is more convoluted than the Vallow case. You cannot keep up with this woman's lies. There is so freaking much. V. Oakley said she did all that typing with her broken Google arm. You got that right. Her broken Twitter arm. Her stock image arm. Now, who in their right mind would put a picture up of someone else's arm in a cast and say that's them? Who in their right mind would put up a picture of kangaroo meat, tag themselves in Australia, and say, I'm having kangaroo for dinner? Who would do that? Our girl Janie, I guess. It is attention-seeking behavior. And then the cherry on the top of that is the money grab. Now, more neighbors are speaking out saying, he was never missing, stupid ass.
More twists and turns are coming in by the minute concerning that 25-year-old man found alive after he went missing 8 years ago.
And as those new details come in, there are many more questions we have about where he's been all these years. ABC 13's Brooke Taylor has been speaking with neighbors who were stunned to find out the man, who they say lives on their street, was ever a missing person in the first place.
Yeah, these neighbors were just completely shocked because they never even knew that Rudy Farias was missing, let alone for 8 years. They tell me that they knew him as Dolph, short for Rudolph. They told me they see him often, they text with him, they even hang out with him.
Like, I'm confused right now. I'm like, what's going on?
These neighbors are shocked after seeing reports that missing 25-year-old Rudy Farias was found after missing for 8 long years. Court records reveal his mother lives a few houses down from them, and they tell us her son lives there and they hang out with him often.
He used to come in my garage.
Some okay, boys.
And
chill with us.
chill with my cousin, my son, my daughter. She's at work right now, but that boy ain't been missing since he was no.
Both say they're like, we know him. He's been around. We know him. He was never missing. Listen to him again. I'd be shocked too. What are you talking about? He's missing.
And they tell us her son lives there and they hang out with him often. He used to come in my garage.
Some okay, boys.
And
chill with us.
chill with my cousin, my son, my daughter. She's at work right now, but that boy ain't been missing since he was no.
Both say they've spoken to him in the last 5 months and even text. Other neighbors say they've seen him living there for years.
We were chilling, laughing, good time.
Some days he go to the park and sit in the park around the corner by himself.
Houston police say they got a call on Thursday about a man sleeping outside a church in Magnolia Park. He had something on him with a family member's identification, police say, and that's how they were able to contact his mom. Then Texas for the Missing tweeted out over the weekend that man was Rudy Farias, who had been missing since 2015 when he didn't return back from a walk with his dogs. His mother shared pictures with ABC 13 of her son at the hospital, telling us he was found with cuts and bruises and even cried to me over the phone, saying she believed her son had been kidnapped and hasn't seen him in years. His mother.
She believes he's been kidnapped. Well, that's not what he said last night. She also said that he's been in Dallas for 8 years, sold to sex slavery. She also said Mexicans bagged his head and took him across the border, and he got away from them and followed the moon back to Houston.
Told officials at the time of his disappearance that he suffered from depression and PTSD since his brother died in a motorcycle accident in 2011, something these neighbors say he spoke about.
He said he had lost a brother in a motorcycle accident. I know when he's thinking about his brother, he really wouldn't come hang out. He'd go sit back there in the back, the woods, by himself.
And now they're trying to wrap their heads around why he or his mom would ever say he's been missing for the past 8 years.
And I just got off the phone with his mother just a few minutes ago, and I asked the mother about who the neighbors have been seeing, and she was insistent with me that the person they were seeing was her nephew. So she showed me a picture of her nephew. I showed that picture to the neighbors you just heard from, and they said, absolutely not. That is not the person they know.
Good old Janie. She goes and talks to Janie, the news anchor, who just reminded me I need to get my hair done. She goes, no, that's my nephew. Just like the ex-boyfriend she was planning the lavish wedding with said, I saw your missing kid in the kitchen. Oh, no, you didn't. Come back to bed, honey. Go make me a Pop-Tart and come back to bed. So she shows the picture to the neighbors, and they're like, absolutely not. We know who we saw.
That picture to the neighbors you just heard from, and they said, absolutely not. That is not the person they know as Dolph. So many questions here. I have reached out to Houston police to ask them about this because it's a holiday. They're not in right now, but we do know that they are set to speak to him tomorrow. Of course, we are going to stay on top of this one. We're live in Northeast Houston. I'm Brooke Taylor.
It cannot get any worse. This woman is clinical. I put the link up if anybody wants to grab it and come up and tell me what you think about this, because I mean, we know Janie's a liar. We got that down pat. But why? Why? Is it just for the money? Is it for attention? Did he go along with it? Was he clearly distraught from all the deaths that had gone on in his family? I mean, his dad, his brother. What was going on? Here's another family member speaking out.
who say they saw Rudy after he was reported missing nearly a decade ago.
KPRC2's Corley Peel is live outside the home in Northeast Harris County where family members believe he was staying. Corley.
Andy and Candace, I spoke with Rudy's cousin, and she told me that several years ago she called police saying that family members had seen Rudy at this home where his mother lives. She says she never knew that police came out until years later after he was found. 8 years after Rudy Farias was found alive, his cousin, Cassandra Lopez, says there were more concerns than relief.
I was in shock. I was like, I believe it. I mean, I was glad, but it just was wondering what was going to unfold from it. Like, what was the story going to be behind it? Because it's just, we've always in our hearts knew that he wasn't really missing.
In September 2018, Houston police say family members called saying Farias was living behind a family member's home. Officers searched but never found him. Lopez says she is the family member that called police. She says her grandmother lived with Rudy's mother and would tell family members she saw and talked to Rudy regularly.
She would just say, I saw Rudy, you know, he came to check.
Now, this is important, and I know we've heard from her before, but this is very important because now, mind you, it's just rumors that the grandmother did live with Janie, but this whole court battle she talks about isn't what she's presenting. It has been said by family members that they reached out to Adult Protective Services because she was abusing the grandmother, not our Janie. Not our Janie. The only way to describe this is right here. Bananas.
Call me and, you know, we just said hello and have their little conversation. She never went into detail, but she would say she saw him. And
Rudy's mother shared pictures of him in the hospital after he was found at a church on June 29th. She said he was beaten, burned, and had cuts.
His cousins here love him, and, you know, everything we're doing right now is to make sure that he can tell his story.
Lopez says she wants to know the truth. And I spoke with neighbors who say they saw Rudy and his mother here in their driveway last night. They also took video of a conversation they had with Rudy's mother. Coming up at 6, hear why she feared she could be arrested.
Now, we heard that clip already. She said, oh, I think I'm going to be arrested because they think I've been hiding him. The problem with that is going to be he went missing at 17 and he's 25 now. So what would the crime be? Unless what came out yesterday is true, which we will get to. His aunt spoke out yesterday and said everything is coming together now.
But we start tonight at 10 o'clock with the story getting national attention. A young man reported missing 8 years ago, finally found days ago. But where was Rudy Farias all these years? Thank you for joining us at 10. I'm Keith Garvin.
And I'm Lisa Hernandez. Daniela is off tonight. Back on March 6, 2015, the then 17-year-old's family reported him missing. Fast forward 8 years to last Thursday when the now 25-year-old was finally found outside a church in East Houston. But in a twist, Farias may not have been missing at all.
I knew something was wrong with the story. When she was questioned, when they found him, he had her credit card in his pocket. She just canceled that credit card 2.5 years ago. So if he's been missing for 8 years, how the hell he get your credit card in his pocket? When they found him, she would take him to work with her, and he would do the required work she was supposed to do. And a lot of the responsibilities of her job was on him. No child should ever be treated like that by your own mother. This young man said that when he initially ran away, he came back 2 days later, and she told him that he had to hide, that he was going to get in trouble.
KPRC2's Bryce Newberry live in Northeast Houston in the neighborhood where questions continue to mount tonight. Bryce.
Lisa and Keith, tonight we are not detailing these disturbing allegations until we can verify them. But after hearing some of the claims that came out earlier today, the neighbors and family members we spoke with tonight tell us they are disturbed, disgusted, and tonight they are also worried about the man who everyone here in this neighborhood knew as Dolph. Wrapped in a blanket and not showing his face, this is how everyone saw 25-year-old Rudy Farias for the first time since he was reported missing 8 years ago. After being interviewed by Houston police detectives with his mother at a hotel near Bush Airport, he left with her as family members cast doubt on him ever being missing.
Everything's coming out to the light because I knew that she's been lying all this time.
Rudy's aunt, Pauline Sanchez Rodriguez, tonight is worried knowing he's still with his mother.
I fear.
Now at 25, without all of this investigated, I guess I can kind of see how he got to go back with her, but I still think he needs protective custody because the revelations that came out yesterday are jaw-dropping. We haven't even gotten to that yet.
Here for Rudy Farias' life.
This is video neighbors took Tuesday night as Rudy's mother loaded up their car, less than 24 hours before police questioned her.
And now they want to arrest me because they said I was hiding him.
Rudy's mother then shared that. The neighbors also say she offered to pay them. Did it seem like she was offering money to get y'all to stay quiet?
Stay quiet. She wanted us to keep quiet. But I told her, before I walked off, I told her one thing I'm not supposed to do is lie about something.
Keisha Ross lives down the street. She knew Rudy as Dolph. Police questioned her.
And now they want to arrest me because they said I was hiding him.
And now they want to arrest me because they say I was hiding him. Well, I have a feeling that's coming down the pike. I mean, and the neighbors are speaking out.
Rudy's mother then shared that. The neighbors also say she offered to pay them. Did it seem like she was offering money to get y'all to stay quiet?
Stay quiet. She wanted us to keep quiet. But I told her, before I walked off, I told her one thing I'm not supposed to do is lie about something.
Keisha Ross lives down the street. She knew Rudy as Dolph and saw him regularly.
He never came in my garage with a sober mind. Never.
Okay, this is important because when the neighbor said he never came in my garage, I don't know why everyone's hanging out in garages. I keep hearing he was in garages. Anyway, he never came in my garage with a sober mind. Well, that backs up what was said to the advocate yesterday. So I know while people are saying the advocate shouldn't have said anything, we can't just dismiss it. So she was offering people $200 to zip it and say, that's my nephew. Or like the ex-boyfriend that she was planning the lavish wedding with, you didn't see anything. Get my Pop-Tart, bitch.
One thing he said to me was he didn't want to be at home because his mom got on his nerves.
And we know that Rudy and his mother left that hotel after interviewing with detectives earlier today. We have been here in their neighborhood all evening. So far tonight, no sign of them. But we are expecting an update from Houston police on this case tomorrow, a full week after Rudy Farias was found. We're live in Northeast.
Again, this is the only way to explain it. Insane. Now, I'm going to put a trigger warning up because it's a lot to take in. We're going to go through what was released yesterday by the advocate. This is not a law enforcement officer. He is an advocate. And he spoke with Rudy yesterday. What he put out is mind-blowing. You know, Gwen doesn't live too far from me. She lives down in Ada, Oklahoma. Her and Blake. Happy in love. Happy in love. So if you need to get out, I understand that this is a lot. Diva says, I love Gwen. She goes to the Dollar General there all the time. She loves Ada, Oklahoma.
So you've been here with Rudy and his mother?
For a few hours, yes.
What are the conversations like?
Let me first apologize for my appearance. Received an emergency phone call to get over here for this meeting with the detectives, Rudy's mother and Rudy. So I dropped everything I was doing and made it as fast as I possibly could. And I spent about an hour and 20 minutes one-on-one with Rudy and with one of the detectives. I heard horrific things from that young man. And I did not want him to see me start shedding tears, but I couldn't hold back the tears because of the things he was saying to us, the detective and myself. No child should ever be treated like that by your own mother. This young man said that when he initially ran away, he came back 2 days later, and she told him that he had to hide, that he was going to get in trouble, and they were going to arrest him for running away, and that he had to continue hiding. So she hid him out for a while, then brought him back to the house and hid him in the home.
Okay, this is important. He did run away for a couple of days. He came back. Good old Janie, she knows how to manipulate. She knows how to scare people. She knows how to scam. She knows how to lie. She knows how to make alter personalities. Scares the bejesus out of him, hides him out, and then brings him back home. Well, I think there is an ulterior motive to this.
And initially, whenever the investigators would come, she would hide him in the house. And he kept saying, I don't want her to go to prison. I don't want her to get in trouble. I don't want her to go to jail. And so we asked him, why did you run away? And he said he just got tired of her not respecting his boundaries. And she said that he wanted his own life. And his exact word was, I was tired of living like a slave. She would take him to work with her, and he would do the required work she was supposed to do.
Janie again. She would take him to work with her, which the neighbors verified. We have to go back to what the neighbors said. Okay, a lot of this is verified by the neighbors. They would leave about 6 p.m. every night and return about 7 in the morning. She would take him to work, so she probably sat there and played Bubbles on her phone or found Getty images to update her multiple Facebooks while he did the work.
And a lot of the responsibilities of her job was on him. And he went on to say that what troubled him the most was her crossing his personal space boundaries. He said that she would make him sleep in the bed with her. And he said that she made him play daddy. He said that he didn't like getting in the bed with her.
Now, whether you like this guy or don't like him, it's all over the place now. He went outside He talked to the press. Nobody should have to hear this. Any of us, myself, OJ, the people that make Pop-Tarts, anybody. But this is horrific. Now, please keep in mind that Houston police said while there are reports of some of the content of the interviews being released, our detectives are not in a position at this time to discuss specifics of the interviews or if the content being released is entirely factual. So we have to take that with a grain of salt. But we're smart enough to put 2 and 2 together because the neighbors have backed up some of this. She went to work with him. He went to work with her. I apologize. So we know that when he would come to my garage, he was never in his right mind.
Would try to sneak out of the bed and sometime hide under the bed, but she told him he had to be her husband. That's a damn shame, man. A little boy said she was the one providing drugs to him for years. Hallucination drugs, mushrooms, etc. And that the reason why he was left, he was just tired of her crossing his boundaries. When he would shower, she would come and pull the shower curtain back and stare at him, and then she would make him bathe her with the soap. And he ran away this time because he was tired.
Okay. He's grown. There is no reason for him to be sleeping in the bed with her. There is no reason for her to bother him. We don't need to shower together. No.
It's a goddamn shame. I ain't never in my life heard of a mother doing to a child what this woman did.
Were you at all there when the mother was questioned?
Yes.
And what was her reaction?
Yes. And I knew something was wrong with the story. When she was questioned, when they found him, he had her credit card in his pocket. She just canceled that credit card 2.5 years ago. So if he's been missing for 8 years, how the hell he get your credit card in his pocket?
Okay. This is definitely important. If he's been missing for 8 years, how did he have your credit card from 2 years ago in his pocket? In his pocket. And it's very common in these cases with victims that they don't want to talk to the police. They'll talk to a counselor, a social worker, a local advocate. They don't feel comfortable talking to the police because in their own mind, they might be in trouble for something. So this is actually common. I'm surprised he opened up yesterday and that this didn't take months to come out. Forensic psychologists, there's a lot of stuff that goes on, but sometimes the victim thinks that they could be in trouble for something. Now remember, when he ran away and came home, she told him he was going to be in trouble if the police see him. I got to hide you out. You have to hide here because of what you did. So it wouldn't surprise me if he felt uncomfortable with the police after what he's been told.
Were you at all there when the mother was questioned?
Yes.
And what was her reaction? When
Yes. And I knew something was wrong with the story. When she was questioned, when they found him, he had her credit card in his pocket. She just canceled that credit card 2.5 years ago. So if he's been missing for 8 years, how the hell he get your credit card in his pocket when they found him from 2.5 years ago? And he said to us that she gave him that credit card so he could go and buy her certain things.
But with the other allegations, what was her response to those allegations?
She hadn't even heard them because we had to remove her from the room.
So he's not going to speak in front of her. Now, I think it adds insult to injury, her taking him home with her. So we go back to this. What is it? Is he a willing participant? Is this Stockholm syndrome? Munchausen by proxy? I don't know.
But so she hasn't been questioned about that.
Can you describe her demeanor and his demeanor during questioning?
When she was in the room, he wouldn't say nothing. He wouldn't say one word when she was in the room. But the minute she left the room and we were allowed to talk to a young man, and he asked, he said, "Can I speak with Mr. X by myself? Can I talk to Quanell by myself?" And the detective was like, "Well, can one of us stay in the room?" And he was like, "Okay, but I'll talk to him." When she left, when he first came here, he was holding on to her. He wouldn't talk to them. He wouldn't say one word to anybody. Like he was petrified. But the minute he got alone by himself, he slowly calmed down. And he slowly began to talk very coherently and specific details.
This is a man in his mid-20s. People might wonder, why not run away from this situation? Why not get yourself out of it? Did he give you any explanation about that?
I honestly believe, based on what he said to us, she was drugging the hell out this kid. And she convinced him that he was in trouble for initially running away and that law enforcement wanted to arrest him and put him in jail for running away. She had convinced him.
See, and that kind of goes along with her other bullying, manipulation, her alter personalities. When she's going to convince him, he comes back home after running away. Why didn't she report him as a runaway? Because she was scared that they were going to get involved into what was going on in that house. She knew what would happen. She knew that the Child Protective Services of Texas were going to be hot all over her. Why, if a child runs away, things aren't good at home, period. It's not just a bratty kid. Something's wrong. So instead of getting him counseling, working through it, she tells him, the authorities are looking for you. He was never reported as a runaway.
That all type of agencies were looking for him to put him in jail.
He was in plain sight, according to you, in that he would take her to work.
No, he would go to work with her.
Right. He
would stay at the job
she
with
would
her.
take him to work. Where did she work, and where was he doing this work?
It was some kind of security job or something like that. Where they were at, I don't know, but it was a security type job, a nighttime security watch type job.
How did he end up in church?
We still can't. He admit that he had took mushrooms, okay? And 2 weeks before this, or a week, not even official, whole 2 weeks, her car was stolen, okay? When her car was stolen, she didn't know how the car was stolen, but the keys were in the car. And he stole the car. That's when he got into the accident in the car. And it was him that got into the accident in that car.
What was the story? I mean, this is 8 years he was reported missing. What's the story that he's been? I spoke to neighbors who said he went by Dolph, but he never kind of told anyone what happened. What was his story?
Because she had convinced him that he was in so much trouble for initially running away. And she gave this boy serious drugs to the point to where this boy needs extensive professional help.
How did he stay missing for so long? I mean, 8 years.
He was allowed to visit with some of the neighbors under an assumed name. She believed that after so many years, people had forgotten about the case.
Okay, and that is backed up by the neighbors. They knew him as Dolph. When confronted by KHOU and other news anchors saying, she says this was her nephew. Dolph is her nephew. And they're like, no, we know who this is. So that's also backed up by the neighbors.
And that under an assumed name and convinced him to use that name, nobody would put two and two together.
But he never told any of the people that he was with what was happening?
Never told anybody what was going on. And let me say this. That young man's body have scars all over it. Slice wounds from here up, from literally his forearm to his wrist. All type of scars on this kid. And he said that she often locked him in the room, that she would give him drugs and lock him in the room. And there's a whole lot of mental health issues there, I believe, induced because of the drugs that this young man was getting.
At any point during this process today, did you see the mother detained by HP?
They took her to another room and kept her there for a minute after he had confided with us what was said. I know they were on the phone with the DA's office and their superiors about this case, but I want everybody to know something. This young boy was not kidnapped by some strangers and he got away and they found him. That's not the case here.
You know, this happened on Thursday, and we're nearly a week later, and investigators waited almost a week to speak to him. Hearing the story that you heard, is it a concern that they waited this long to hear from him, given the story that you were told? It seems like he's had 8 years of dealing with this, and now another week.
I was shocked that they have not done more. I was shocked that they had not executed a search warrant on the home. I was shocked by that. And I said, don't you all think you need to get busy and execute a search warrant on that home? And the young man made it crystal clear to us that that's where he was, in the house. But he was living under this fake assumed name.
You think police failed in this situation?
Oh, big time. No doubt about it. Absolutely they did. Because there were several instances where calls were made about him to law enforcement, and they did not properly follow up and follow through based on the history of that address, because she hadn't changed addresses.
And our residents were saying this morning that she brought bags and she was trying to leave. Do we know something about that?
She was trying to do what?
Trying to leave the house. She was trying to leave the house.
She did leave the house.
She was trying to escape.
She did leave the house, and she was trying to get away from the house, yes.
Why was she at this hotel?
She said she felt that she was not safe going home because she had been receiving threats.
What now? Is the police investigation over? Where are they?
I can't say at what state their investigation is. But what I can say, it ain't no way in hell that the woman shouldn't be locked up immediately. And that boy needs to go to the best drug rehab and best psychological mental health facility that we can find for him. He's a good kid. He's a good kid. That kid was just severely abused.
And what was the mother's reaction when you brought these stories to her?
I couldn't go back in the presence at that point. The police felt it was just best that she and I not speak again. Because I was bitter.
Is she aware of these that the son told you?
Yes, she's aware. And then she goes back in there and tries to tell him, and she don't even know that was recorded. Tell him that you made it all up. That it was just a lie.
You said she would ask him to play daddy. Can you just, she was sexually abused.
She would ask him to play daddy. She told him that he had to be the husband. She would force him to sleep in the bed with her. And he was forced to sleep at times in the beds with no clothes on.
Was anything
And
physically done?
yes, but I don't want to talk about the kissing and all of that stuff.
But he was telling you that there was some sort of sexual action that was happening between him and his.
If your mother tongue kissing you in the bed with her naked, what the hell is that? I mean, damn, do we have to go that far? That's what happened. This is sick. This ain't normal. This is sick.
Quanell, if these allegations are true, I understand the position you're in. If they are true, how long before you think this occurs?
Based on what that young man said to me in front of the detective, I don't see why she's not in handcuffs right now. I don't see why she's not in handcuffs right now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I agree with him. I can't believe she's not in handcuffs right now. Let's get to the press conference. If anybody can make an announcement wherever and just say we're getting ready to watch the press conference.
X, based on the conversation he has with Rudy, are valid at this point. Houston police, almost immediately after that press conference with Quanell X, released a statement saying that they were going to wait until today, until this press conference. I see Chief Troy Finner making his way to the stadium, or podium, so we're going to go ahead and take this live.
Everybody up? Okay. Good. All right. Good afternoon, everyone. We're here to discuss the missing person investigation of Rudy Farias. But before I do that, I want to address our dash cam news that's been in the news starting 2 weeks ago. And I'm gonna do that really, really quickly. And then I'm gonna bring up Lieutenant Zamora from the Missing Persons Unit, who'll provide some detail on the investigation. And also Commander Garcia will come in and translate for us. So a few weeks ago, there were a report that we only had only 15% of our vehicles were equipped with body-worn camera, with dash cams, I meant to say. That didn't take into account that we don't equip dash cams on investigative vehicles. So let me give you just a quick breakdown on the actual numbers. We have about 3,200 vehicles on our fleet used for various duties. 1,400 of those vehicles are equipped with lights and sirens, our traditional patrol cars. 1,800 of those are investigative vehicles and undercover vehicles. Of that number, of the 1,400, not every marked vehicle is used to conduct traffic stops, investigations, calls for service. Examples: if you have a vehicle that's assigned to public affairs, community affairs, it's a show vehicle. I'm not putting a dash cam on it. If we have vehicles assigned to our training division and we're just training officers how to drive, I'm not putting dash cams on that. So the actual numbers, we have 579 vehicles out of the 1,400 vehicles are equipped with dash cams. The mayor has agreed to devote additional $2 million, and that will outfit an additional 143 vehicles. So we're not at 100%, like I said when I did that interview, but we're definitely moving in that right direction. So I want to thank the mayor again for stepping in with that funding. Last thing I want to say about that, and we'll bring up the lieutenant. During my administration, which has been a little bit over 2 years, we've equipped 355 vehicles. That's probably 60% or so of our fleet right now. So we do believe in transparency, and definitely as the chief of police, I believe in transparency. So anything that we can do to move that in that direction. But I'm going to bring the investigator up, and we'll hold up, Mario. I'm going to bring the investigator up, and we're going to entertain all questions at the end about the dash cams and also this investigation. So we'll entertain everything at the end. Come on.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
All right. Good morning. I'm Lieutenant Zamora with the Homicide Division Missing Persons Unit. To my left, I have Detective Sergeant Jimenez, Detective Brian Ford, and Detective Atlanta Claiborne. Today, we're discussing facts related to 25-year-old Rudy Farias, who was reported missing on March 7, 2015. He was 17 years old when his mother reported him missing. During the 8-year time frame where he was missing, investigators followed up on many tips, leads, collected evidence proving that Rudy was not missing during the 8-year period. Many of these facts included contacts and statements with relatives, friends, neighbors, and medical professionals. Rudy was recently identified as having previous HPD interactions, meaning that he made contact with patrol officers out on the street. However, during these contacts, fictitious names and date of births were given, misleading the officers, and Rudy would remain missing. In fact, both Janie, Rudy's mother, and Rudy himself gave fictitious names while interacting with various patrol officers. After investigators talked with him yesterday, it was discovered that Rudy returned home the following day on March 8th, 2015. The mother, Janie, continued to deceive police by remaining adamant that Rudy was still missing. She alleged her nephew was the person friends and family were seen coming and going. However, we disputed that. Currently, the DA has declined any charges at this time for making fictitious reports and failure to ID. Investigators have reached out to Adult Protective Services. HPD Victim Services has reached out. We've also connected Rudy with Victim Services to ensure that he has a method to recover. Now, based on Rudy's interview, there were no reports of sexual abuse reported. If there is a disclosure made, we will continue to investigate. Currently, the investigation is active, and there are new leads coming in. We'll continue to follow those leads. We do take all allegations seriously, and any new information or facts that we receive will be investigated.
Thank you, Lieutenant. One question at a time, please.
Oh,
Do
no.
not yell them out.
I'm going to let him translate, then we're going to do it.
Okay.
Thank you. Go ahead. Yeah.
Thank you,
Thanks.
Thank you, Lieutenant. Buenos días y gracias a todos por estar aquí. Antes de hablar sobre el caso involucrando a la persona desaparecida Rudy Farias, vamos a hablar un poquito sobre un asunto que ha aparecido en las noticias, que es referente a las cámaras montadas en el tablero de los vehículos policíacos. Queremos avisarles que de todos los vehículos que tenemos en nuestra flota, no todos necesitan una cámara montada. Muchos vehículos son usados en investigaciones, no hacen paros de detención de tráfico y esos no necesitan cámaras montadas. También si son vehículos que van a ir a asuntos comunitarios, esos vehículos no necesitan cámaras montadas. Lo que sí podemos decirles es que de los que sí necesitan cámaras montadas, el 50% de nuestros vehículos tienen esas cámaras y estamos trabajando con el alcalde que nos ha dado $2 millones para ponerle las cámaras al resto de nuestros vehículos. Aproximadamente 143 vehículos van a ser, se les va a agregar esa cámara montada y esperamos acabar con el resto de la flota cuando haya fondos necesarios. Ahora, referente al caso de Rudy Farias, queremos voy a hablar un poco sobre lo que dijo el teniente de esta investigación. En el 2015 se reportó a este individuo como una persona desaparecida. En ese momento tenía 17 años de edad. La investigación que han conducido los detectives nos indica de que esta persona en realidad no estaba desaparecida, que hubo contactos con la policía durante estos 8 años. Desafortunadamente, cuando hubo contacto con la policía, este individuo dio otro nombre, un nombre ficticio, y por eso nunca se pudo indicar en nuestros récords, en nuestros archivos, de que esta persona que había sido reportada desaparecida había tenido contacto con la policía. Entonces, van a contestar sus preguntas. En este momento nada más quiero decirles de que cualquier necesidad que tenga Rudy se le va a dar. Si necesita ayuda de nuestras divisiones de asistencia a víctimas, se les va a proporcionar. ¿Okay? No se les ha dado ninguna, el procurador, la oficina del procurador no ha aceptado ningún cargo en este momento. Gracias.
Go ahead. Right.
Yesterday we heard from activist Cornell X, and he made some shocking allegations that he was in the room with a detective and he heard from Rudy firsthand. He said that there were sexual abuse allegations and that he was drugged by his mother. From what you just said today, are you saying that the activist was lying?
Basically, what we're saying is our investigation is our investigation, and we treat it the same. We're gonna, our investigators were in the room, and basically, what they heard and what they interviewed, that's what we attest to in our offense reports and our investigations. And I'm not here, neither are they here to question anybody's integrity, but our integrity with the Houston Police Department stands, and we're gonna report and put in offense reports what a victim or potential victim tells us. Okay.
But just to be clear, in that room, the detective did not hear anything about sexual abuse allegations.
Go ahead.
Can you just clear that up?
Yeah, Sergeant Stefan Menez. Yes, I interviewed him, and no, there was no. I'm trained to listen for probable cause. I'm trained to listen for statements that can help me get charges or move forward with a case. And no, there was no statements made during this investigation so far. No.
Thank you. Next question. Go ahead, Maria.
Can that be answering?
Wait a minute. Go ahead. Because we get it. Yeah. Go ahead.
That is correct, coming from Rudy Farias.
Was there any conversations about sexual relationship between your mother and son?
So we don't release any type of information related to sexual assaults. That's just state law. I
Okay.
can't comment on that.
Go ahead.
Is Rudy a victim then in all of this, or did he and his mother work together? I mean, he wasn't missing now.
The investigation is still going on, Courtney, and I'm not going to say if he's a victim or not. I'm thinking, and saying we're going to treat this just as we do with any potential victim or victim, and we're going to give respect to everybody that's involved. We're going to conduct our investigation, and we're kind of right at the beginning of it. This investigation is going to go on after this press conference. Sorry. If charges are appropriate, they'll see. But let us conduct the investigation. And what's next, Courtney? Just as any other investigation, we're going to follow our evidence. We're going to do more interviews, and we're going to follow the evidence. And I think that's important. Go ahead.
Chief, can you say, were there any signs of mental illness, that he might be mentally ill, that his mother might be mentally ill?
We're not going to say that right now. Anyway, we're going to conduct an investigation. It's really too early to determine that. There are going to be some more parts to the investigations, and some of that may come into play. But right now,
Just because there were some other allegations that he had been held prisoner, that he had been taken to Mexico, is there any indication that that was true, or was that like a belief?
Lieutenant. Yeah.
Because that would have been kidnapping, right? Or holding somebody next to him.
We don't have any information to say that there was any kind of kidnapping or anything like that right now.
Okay.
Have any search warrants been served at the house?
I think it's no search warrants.
No, at the time he was reported missing 8 years ago. Being missing is not a crime. So the detectives had no lawful means or probable cause to issue a search warrant for the residence, which was searched several times.
We're going to work our way down and we'll get back to you. Go ahead. Yes. There's no permanent timeline. As you can imagine, there's a cost to it, and there are some complications. I'll give you one just quick thing, a challenge. 200 of our vehicles are model 2014 or older. That's a challenge. I'm not, when we're up against a financial budget like we are, you got to pick and choose, and you got to prioritize some things. So, but as quickly as funding comes in, we're going to work to getting all of our patrol vehicles and those vehicles that come into contact with the public with dash cams. But I want people to realize one thing: 100% of our officers that's out there on the streets have body-worn cameras on, 100%. And we know for a fact that if you would choose dash cams, I'd love to have both systems, okay, 100%. But once you get out that car where most things happen in interaction, hand to hand, I want that body-worn camera. But as we get funding in, and as I said, the mayor is stepping up like he always does, but he can only do so much. This funding issue didn't start. And I'm going to say this, I stay away from politics, okay? But the citizens in Houston, at some point in time, we're going to have to really face how we're going to properly fund public safety and public servants, okay? Because you need better fire trucks, you need better equipment. We can't keep kicking that can down the street. We're going to have to talk about things of a revenue cap, but we'll leave it to the politicians. Next question. Go ahead.
Yesterday and the day that he was discovered, was anything searched? Was anybody questioned? Anybody go by the house?
Rudy and his mother were interviewed yesterday. As far as anyone going to the house, it's still active investigation. We can't release details pertaining to that.
Also, quick clarity, was he 17 at the time that he was missing?
Yes, sir, that's
Yes.
correct.
So he's 25.
He's
25 now. Yeah. Go ahead, Mario. I'll get you all. Hold up. Go ahead.
Was there a missing persons report filed by his mother at the very beginning?
That was in March 7th, 2015.
So there was a missing persons report that was filed.
Correct.
And so this is what I'm asking on this one. Could the mother be detained for filing a missing persons report and never once informing HPD that he came home?
Yes, she could be reported or detained. That offense is a Class C misdemeanor, which is similar to a traffic citation.
Right.
Rudy
Go ahead.
Farias was found on Thursday. Your investigator spoke to him nearly a week later. Do you think it was a mistake not to speak to him sooner? You said yourself the DA has not accepted charges. That's a week where evidence could be destroyed. What's your response to that?
So it's procedure for the investigation to go through a channel, and when it reaches us, we review it. There was no urgency to investigate a recovered or found person. And I say that because patrol officers made contact with him. They ensured that he was safe. They contacted HFD to make sure that he didn't need medical treatment, and he was cleared on scene by HFD. He refused transportation to the hospital. His mother took him to the hospital later on that evening.
What the lieutenant said, I think, is important. You can't force a potential victim of a missing person, okay, with nothing else to come in and give a statement. So it takes time to try to work with people to get that statement. Okay.
I know you believe in transparency, and I just, for the public, we're going to put this on the news, and it's going to cause more questions because yesterday we hear from the activist who makes these shocking allegations, and as a reporter who was there, I did see him myself go in and out of the room, so it was clear that he had some sort of communication.
transparency doesn't come in front and maintaining the integrity of the investigation, and that's where my transparency stops. But and I'm gonna, this is the last question I'm gonna ask about the activists or anybody else. You know, we're gonna follow our investigation, and we treat it the same. Everybody has a role in society, and we respect everybody, including our activists. But the integrity of the investigation is number one, and we're gonna maintain that. Okay. Yeah. I don't think so. Go ahead. Anybody?
Yes, we do. Rudy is safe. He is with his mother by choice.
Yeah.
He's a 25-year-old man.
Right. Hey, we're going to get a few more. Mario right here, and then we're going to work our way down. Probably 4 more, and we're going to wrap. I said potential victim, and I want to be respectful on that. Yeah. 17. Yeah.
There's been cases in the past where people have been brainwashed, where people have been told you cannot, and they're being held against their will. For everyone that's going to be watching this worldwide, because this is a worldwide story, how do you not separate him until you guys are able to get everything together, considering that he disappeared as a child?
Mario, you've been in the business for a long time, and I'm gonna let you answer that. Okay, we've explained everything, some of the challenges or whatnot. Here's a fact: he's a grown man. 20. Listen to what I'm saying. If you want me to answer you, no, he was an adult, 17. Hold up, okay. Not confrontational. You know, I respect what everybody does. Okay, but 17 years old, that's an adult in the state of Texas. Okay. A lot of things that we shared up here. So we're going to work our way through it. It takes a little while. There's a lot of development still, even last night. Okay. We know that everything's coming up. We're going to investigate it. The integrity is going to stay in place. We're going to treat him the same as any other person that comes through that we're conducting investigation on. I'm done with that part. Go ahead, Courtney. Go ahead. Okay. Anybody? I can answer that though. I mean, to protect, we can't predict motivation or whatnot. We could just try to, yeah, right, yeah. But you know, during the interview and the particulars of it, it's active investigation. We respect that, but can't. Yeah. Next question. Yeah. We wasn't just doing 8 years total investigation. Okay, so it went dormant for a little bit, but the case was still open. Okay, and I want to say this: until we find people, until we clear it, that's when it should be cleared. But if your question is, we expended some resources. Absolutely, yes. No, you're prioritizing. Okay, we're in a budget that there are challenges. Okay, and what I presented, and we'll side note this. Okay, because it takes a little while to explain it. When you have challenges, people look at a $1 billion budget. Okay, and everybody just, oh my God, HPD has a lot of money. 92% of that goes to salary and benefits, so it's not a whole lot of money. We have to pay our people, and we have to be competitive. The mayor just gave 7.2 million so we can get more cadets in. So there are a lot of challenges. What I'm saying is this didn't happen just in the mayor's administration. For years, you need so much amount, 14 million. I always talk about that to properly replace vehicles in our fleet. But some years when things are just, you got a lot of stuff going on. Okay, when you don't get that, it kicks it back and it makes it worse. We have an aging fleet. 50% of our vehicles, or a little bit more, are beyond the replacement life, and that's patrol vehicles, 100,000 miles, 5 years. Unmarked vehicles, 120,000 miles, 7 years, okay? So we have a very aging fleet and a lot of other problems. So we will prioritize and we're going to get there where we need to. But outside state, go ahead. Yes. No. No, we're not going to say anything. Let me get you, and then I'm going to get you. You're going to be the last one. Go ahead.
We can. It's a call for service.
Yeah.
There was a burglary report last night at the house. Patrol responded, and we were alerted because it was a house of note, and it's been part of the investigation, and that is also now part of our investigation. What happened last night, and it's still going.
You said in the beginning
Thank
of
you.
this press conference that Rudy has made contact with patrol units at some point. Can you explain what that was, and does he face any charges for saying that he had false names?
So it is a criminal offense to give false names when you're detained under arrest or you're making a valid police report. There was an instance where he did that, him and his mother. At this time, though, the district attorney has declined to accept charges on that until our entire investigation has been complete.
So you tried to charge him as well?
It was, the facts were presented to the district
Good.
attorney.
Mario, we're going to end it, okay? Go ahead.
Can you say what that contact was quickly, though, with him? You said patrol units. Was it like he was stopped in his car? Can you just...
I was gonna ask specifically, did HPD ever go to his home and with his mother, and were any fictitious names given at that time?
I'm sorry, excuse me. Investigators did go out to the home multiple times. They talked to various family members, relatives, friends, neighbors, and yes, they were given a fictitious name.
So was there contact made with Rudy at his home?
Let me close with this one thing, okay? Let me close with this, Mario. Look, we've been open as we can. It's not our first investigation, and everybody here understands what I'm saying about the integrity investigation. This is where we're going to end. We wanted to get up before a lot because this has come as not only a local, but a national, and some cases international, okay, because of everything that's going on. But it ends today, not our investigation, but as we get more information and when it's appropriate, we'll send out information, okay? So I want to thank everybody. I want to thank you for your patience, and thank y'all for what you do every day. Yeah, yeah. That's it. All right, thank y'all.
Thank you.
Yeah. Get y'all, tell me y'all names. Just the name. Yes, I want her.
Stefan Jimenez. STEPHENJIMENEZ, Sergeant.
Detective Brian Fort, BRIANFORT.
ELENA. You just heard from Houston Police about the investigation into the 8-year disappearance of Rudy Farias. There was a little bit in there about dash cams for patrol cars, but the bulk of the questions, the bulk of that press conference addressed what investigators have known for the past 8 years and what they've learned just in the past couple of days. We are standing by waiting to possibly hear from members of Rudy Farias's family. If we can get a hold of that, I will bring it to you immediately. What did we learn in this press conference? We learned that the day after Rudy went missing in March 2015, he returned home. His mother had already filed a missing persons report, according to investigators, and she never corrected that. She never followed up with HPD to let them know that Rudy returned home. For the past 8 years, they said they have had some evidence that Rudy was not missing. He and his mother have both had interactions with HPD. Officers didn't explain what those interactions were, but that there had been interactions in which both Rudy and his mom, Janie Santana, used false names.
Okay. This is horrible. If they're under budget, then the mayor needs to increase the budget for the police. Plain and simple. Not increase his own budget. Rudy went back to his mother by choice. They're calling him a potential victim. They said they can't force him to make a statement. Bowling said, Brooks, you alive? Yep, I'm right here. They can't force him to make a statement. So he spoke to this advocate yesterday, but the advocate cannot make a statement for him. Rudy has to talk to the investigators. Being missing is not a crime, even at 17. The age of consent in Texas, well, is younger than 17. Hell, people get charged as an adult at 14 in Texas. The most the mom would get is a Class C misdemeanor, but the investigation is still ongoing. This DA is weak. I mean, she is weak. I'm not going to get into politics, but I mean, it seems like everything goes around politics and money. Look up who some of her biggest funding came from. Who some of her biggest funding came from. It's going to knock your socks off. They're saying he's 25. So even if he's been showering with his mother the last few years, he's an adult. I don't think it works this way. This lies on this woman right here. This is the DA of Harris County. This is the DA of Harris County, Houston. You'll be very surprised when you see who her big campaign contributor is. Over the age of 18, if you consent, that's how they look at it. I don't agree with it because I think things have been going on since 2011. This woman is not going to do anything. The lieutenant looked like he could bite nails. He looked furious because this is what happens in cities like Houston. And I love Houston. Don't get me wrong. It's a beautiful city. But they work and they work and they work and they work and they have all this evidence. All this evidence. They give it to the DA's office and they're like, can't really do anything with this. The best thing would be if Q has this rapport with Rudy. He needs to get him to talk to the investigators because there is something extremely troubling going on. I don't have any faith in this DA, though. This is insane. This is absolutely insane. I'm going to drop the link and see if anybody wants to come up and voice your opinion about this. Because I just pretty much thought that she would have been locked up. She's been hiding him for years. I mean, this is disturbing. What did DT say? DT driver said, remember, she was married to a Houston police officer. I thought about that too, honey. I thought about that too. and he was in big time trouble for other things, and he checked out early. So she could have connections in that department. They have made connection with her and Rudy for 8 years. Now, I don't want to see Rudy in trouble for giving officers a fake name, but I'm telling you, there's something they can charge her with. This is disgusting. Disgusting. Check out the DA in Houston. It's definitely going to open your eyes. Hang on. Kat said, by the sounds of it, above the age of consent, incest is legal in Texas. I really don't know. I don't see how that would be legal. I do know that the press conference, I don't think it's legal at any age because, well, for a million reasons. From what the press conference said, and I'm going to put it up as a separate clip on the channel so you can go through it again. They said that they can't force him to give a statement. He's 25, and they cannot make him talk to them. So I'm really hoping that the advocate, the neighbors, the family who's aware now say, you have to go talk to this investigator. Because he only wanted to talk to the advocate, which, considering what she told him when he ran away and came back home, that the police are looking for him, he could be scared to talk to them. I believe what he said. Let me ask you guys, do you believe what Rudy said? Day Tripper said if they can track her online scams and prove she committed wire fraud, the feds can investigate through the IRS. I agree. I agree. I think she's had a lot of dirty business, but I think this DA is a horrible person. Kat said, yes, I believe he was SA from a young age and he has Stockholm syndrome. Because it's something. Was he a willing participant? Which I don't believe there's any such thing as willing when it comes to what came out yesterday. Stockholm syndrome, which I see a lot of that, because when he returned home, she said the authorities are looking for you. Multiple agencies, so I have to hide you out. So when he was found behind the church, I could see him not wanting to speak with investigators. Snazzy, thank you for the super sticker. She said, Grizzy hood crime have family live right now. There are other reports there. This is crazy. The family is furious. Okay, I'm going to check that out. I am definitely going to check that out. I'm going to get another live together tomorrow about this because I think this is really going to develop. I will put the press conference up separate. Of course, you're going to have to hear about dash cams and stuff. Incest is no bueno. No bueno. So what was said is she wanted him to sleep in the bed and be the daddy, and she would bother him in the shower. Yeah, there's a million reasons why the big I is illegal. And don't blame it on all of Texas. Let me tell you what, this DA in Houston is horrible. I mean, this is horrible. I mean, they came right out of the chute saying the DA has declined. Police love to lock up people. They love it. Incest is a crime in every state. 'Cause And if you go back through the show, you'll see that what the neighbors said are in line with what the advocate said. He was drugged. He was out of his mind every time he came to the garage. He went to work with her every night. That is him. He was not missing. I hope they did some drug testing when he was at the hospital. He was disheveled. He had a lot of stuff going on. If he had drugs in his system, then that definitely needs to be an investigation. All right, guys, I'm going to continue to follow this. I'm going to get a show together for tomorrow because my brain is about to explode. My brain is about to explode. I cannot believe all the wrong that is going on in Harris County, Texas. This is not something you turn a blind eye to. But we're going to hang in there. We're going to keep on keeping on. You guys are the absolute best. Thank you for being here. I know it was a long show. Where Summer is back. She's been on vacation. Radio Gaga chimed in. Thank you to you, Corey. Sunshine Cowgirl said, take a break, Brooks. No, because I'm going to be working on this all day. It is, well, I'll tell you again. I'll tell you again what it is. Thank you for the donations to the channel. Thank you for the gifted memberships. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you to the mod squad. I know it's been a crazy couple of weeks. Oh, thank you, Angel P, who just gifted a Crime Lines and Lies membership. And I will see you guys tomorrow morning. I have a feeling we're going to be discussing Rudy again because I can't keep my eyes off of this. You can blame Snazzy. She's the one that told me about it. But I'm very glad she did because I had a feeling this was going to happen. I had a damn feeling this was going to happen. They were going to say he's 25, 17 is age of consent. If he wants to run away, he can run away. No, not in my America. Not in my America. Thank you again for being the best chat and the best community on YouTube. I will see you back here tomorrow morning.